It's the final percent. The final percent. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Final Percent podcast. And we're back in the truck. We are back in Wyoming visiting my dad, making sure that he's doing well, making sure that the fam's doing good. We just experienced my uncle's 75th birthday, and he is a blues musician who is moving and shaking and performing and getting out there doing a 5-hour set, like he's a young man. So, I mean, music is kind of, I think it's a fountain of youth, and especially if it's part of your passion. But I'm in the truck driving, so if I hit a bump, don't think that I'm nervous or anything. But we're dedicated to getting these podcasts out every single day. Yes, I said day. It's an ambitious thing, but I'm going to do it all the way leading up to the summit. And today I have an incredible guest. She's a returning guest. She's sitting right next to me for now and forever, my beautiful wife.
Aw, thanks, baby. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well,
in the truck.
in the truck, in the Chronicles of the Truck Cast.
Yep.
But we were just we were talking about, what should we talk about to give people insight. And I know that we wanted to talk a little bit about community. For anybody who doesn't know, my dad is doing much better. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, he just had a heart attack. And he's made some profound life decisions. I think, his mortality has finally been put on his mind in an appropriate fashion. And we get these signals. And unfortunately, we either evolve into a better version of ourselves or it takes a revolution. I would say a heart attack and getting run over by a car, which is what happened to my dad, that's a revolution. And he has made a lot of profound decisions. He's not going to drink anymore. And even at a party that was at a bar where there was a lot of people drinking, he did not drink. And out of solidarity, I am not going to drink around him in any fashion. And so it was kind of fun leaving my uncle's birthday party 100% sober. So, there's something to this. But I'd like to talk a little bit about, and with Cayla, let's talk a little bit about the community. Let's talk about family. Let's maybe talk about how your bump is more important than we are now. We realize that.
Already noticing it.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit about your experience throughout the night.
Well, first off, I'd like to touch base back on your dad really quick, because I got to spend a little bit more time with him as well last night, and it was incredible just engaging in conversation with him and realizing how different he has become because of this whole experience. He reminds me of the old Jeff a little bit, and I hadn't realized, over the last couple years, just with his deteriorating health, how much it was really affecting him. And he stands a little taller, he doesn't have as many balance issues, he walks better, he has clearer eyes, he just seemed a lot more engaged, and we had a great conversation, and I was just like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And one of the things that he said to me, which I'll never forget, he looked at me and he goes, I really feel like with this whole experience, my old life expired. That life I was living of not being healthy, of drinking, more adult beverages than maybe he should, and not taking care of himself and overworking himself and all of those kind of things. He said, that version of my life expired. There is no more time left with that life. I've been given a second chance, and I'm really committed I'm going to take this seriously, make my health a priority. And I think he feels this whole renewed sense of life.
Yeah.
And he's excited about the future, which I haven't seen that look on his face in so long.
Yeah.
He has hope and belief and excitement, and it was such a beautiful thing for me to witness, especially seeing how excited he, got every time the, little wee babe got brought up. he is genuinely to his core ecstatic about the birth of our child. And it's just having that connection with he and I last night was just beautiful, and it's something I'll never forget. So I just wanted to start off by that because it was such a profound moment for me, and it was very powerful. So that was really cool last night. But as far as just last night overall, it was a blast. Having all the family and friends and Blind Dog come back together, like Greg even said.
For everyone who doesn't know, Blind Dog is the name of my uncle's band.
Yes, Blind Dog Smokin'. Look it up. They're Grammy nominated, world-class musicians, super down-to-earth, humble people. Like, we absolutely adore all of them. They are our family. But it was like a big family reunion last night, and it was so fun to be there again with everybody, reconnecting, rekindling relationships. Some people we hadn't seen in like 2 years because of COVID, and people weren't playing and touring and doing those kind of things. So it was just a big party last night, and coming back together, it really made my heart feel full. I felt connected, and like Greg always talks about of this, the whole thing of it takes a village. We don't like to say tribe. It takes a village, and our village is big and beautiful and amazing, and just being able to reconnect with all those people last night just was literally, it was something I was missing that I didn't even realize I was missing until last night.
And I think a lot of people are probably going through that with COVID. And just so you know, we don't pick sides. We're not saying that COVID is not real, and we're also not saying you should go out maskless, and we're not like it's just the fact of the matter is there is a thing called oxytocin inside of a human that tends to come out when you meet another human, and it's very pronounced when you meet people you like, and specifically family. One of the things that people, I don't know if they realize why mothers have such a different kind of bond with their child, is there is a rush of oxytocin right when you have a kid that is something like 10 times the amount that the dad gets when he sees the kid. So there's a specific bond that happens when they come into this world. And obviously, I've been doing a lot of research because we're about to have a kid 3 months out.
Woo woo.
That's borderline terrifying.
I was going to say, it's amazing and also terrifying all at the same time.
But going into the lockdowns, which, regardless of where you look at it, they happened. And people are lacking that human connection. And we got to see so much of our family for the first time in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit like getting plugged in and our batteries recharged.
Yes.
And I would say another thing that, and I don't know what happened to me over the quarantine and different things like that. I've really learned to let a lot of stuff go because things kind of got put into perspective. And what I mean by that is, as with all families and with certain people, especially in small towns, rifts can happen. And, I don't like this, or I don't talk to this person. And it was so interesting how we met a couple people who, realistically in the past, we just said, that's not really, to put it nicely, that's not our cup of tea. But we just really felt this overwhelming sense of compassion and love for everybody. And we just let go. And it just feels good to, transcend the BS and whatever is going on in people's past specifically or particularly. If you learn to let that stuff go, because either if you're not trying to actively fix it or solve it, there's really no reason to hang on to it.
Right.
And it was amazing what happened is we realized that, these couple people, when we extended the olive branch, it was like an instant hug.
Yeah.
And it's like they were wanting to do it too, but it's just who can take the first step. Who can let go first, and it can fix everything without, what Cayla and I do, and I don't know if this is your first podcast, this may be a little weird, but whatever. One of the things, Cayla and I don't fight for, we'll get into tiny little tiffs, or if one of us is not appropriate to another. And there's no yelling and there's no condescension, there's no anything. It's just sometimes attitudes flare up or you're having a bad day. And one of us will always come to the other one, usually within, it's never more than an hour. And we come to the other one and we say, I'm sorry for being a turd.
It's really hard to stay mad at your significant other when they come to you like with this cute little look on their face and they go, I'm sorry for being a turd. And you're like, dang it.
Yeah, you can't stay mad at someone who just said the word turd, right? But that's the truth. And basically what I realized is, why am I using that philosophy exclusively for my marriage?
It's a really good point.
So, is there someone out there that you're holding resentment towards and you're holding animosity towards? And I'm not saying go try to be friends with everyone, because sometimes it's not possible and sometimes it's toxic relationships. But that doesn't mean you can't forgive them without talking to them. It doesn't mean that you can't just say, hey, you know what? It takes two to tango. I'm sorry for my part, and I'm going to forgive myself for the BS. I forgive them. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to give it any more space in my brain, and I'm going to move forward.
Right.
And sometimes you got to tell yourself, I'm sorry for being a turd.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that was really refreshing, and it's also interesting once you look at those things. Half the time you don't even remember what you were mad about.
Right. After so much time had passed, it's like, is it worth it anymore to harbor that negativity? It's amazing what forgiveness is able to do to your psyche and how it uplifts you instantly and how you feel like this weight has been lifted.
Exactly. And then everyone knows, if you don't know, you're about to find out. Cayla and I are putting on a conference. We're calling it the TFP Summit. If you're interested in looking at that, it is the TFP Summit, thefinalpercent.com. And it's a lot more work than I think we thought it was going to be.
Yep. Just a little bit.
And I don't think a lot of people always see the end result, and they either say, oh, wow, that's a crap product, or, oh, wow, that's a great product. And honestly, either way, people usually do not know what went into it to make that happen. And, we've been in the entertainment business for a long time, and we've been in production for a long time, and we've even built schools that teach the technical side of things. But corporate AV, conference, and if I say AV, what I mean by that is audio visual, is a completely different animal.
As they say, there's levels to this.
Yeah, there's levels to this. And so from confidence monitors to how do you make sure that everyone's PowerPoint works, to what's called pipe and drape. That's where, you hang all these pipes around the room and you cover up certain things, and then you light those drapes to give it a certain vibe, and then the staging, and then the logistics of, who flies in, who flies out, who gets what room, when are they going to have the room, how do we get them to the airport, from the airport, are they going to go over their time, does this person is demanding 45 minutes, this person is scared and doesn't want more than 20 minutes on stage, the food and beverage minimums, the different things. It's just and then on top of it, we've decided let's write an album because we want to do this crazy conference with like 300 people and also debut a inspiration and motivational album. So we're writing and recording an album. We've got to figure out distribution for that. And then we've got to rehearse a band.
Yep.
And then we've got to get the concert ready.
And start doing the timelines, run of show.
And then to top that off, we have to actually sell tickets to this thing.
Yep, get butts and seats. And
we got to market the thing.
Execute it, promotion. I was going to say before, kind of previously, getting all the speakers, like who's actually going to be speaking, communicating with them, coordinating these interviews and these podcasts. Like there's so much that goes into each little section of what Greg is throwing out there at you right now. It's wild when you're deep in it, actually trying to take action and make things happen for yourself. What really goes into each little thing. It's tremendous. And
that's why, what I've started doing, I used to be, unfortunately very judgmental, and I've transcended a lot of that stuff because all it does is kind of put shackles on your soul, if you will. But, even if someone, does an event and it's awesome, or if it's awful, at least they took action.
Yes.
At least they showed up. At least they tried. And having all of the quote-unquote armchair quarterbacks, well, you should have done this. You should have done that. You should get this person. You should have made it this color. You should have done this ballroom. You should have done this hotel. I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love that Brene Brown always says is, if you're not in the arena with me, you cannot judge me. You have no say in this. I'm the one who's stepping out and taking all the risk, taking all the bullets, taking all the action, putting my name on the line.
Wow, that's powerful. If you're not in the arena with me, you cannot judge me. So I think that that's maybe the important takeaway from things. Everyone has these battles in their life. And, you may not be trying to put on a conference, but maybe you're trying to figure out how to put multiple children through college. I mean, that's harder than what we're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to move. Maybe you're changing careers. Maybe there's a battle that you're secretly going through that you don't want to tell anybody, and you're scared. And I think that you need to remember that statement that Cayla just brought up is, if you're not in the arena with me, don't judge me. And so turn that around. If they're not in the arena with you, don't put any weight into their judgment.
Right.
I think that that's an important distinction. It's an important mindset. It's an important... See, there's the truck making noise. It wanted to be a part of the podcast. But the thing that I think is important is judgment is controlling us. It induces and increases and introduces fear. Yeah. Because we're scared of judgment. We're scared of failure. And it goes back to a thing that Jay Shetty said in his book. It's actually a really old quote, but everyone knows it from this book, so I'm just going to start referencing it from that book. But he says, "I am not what you think I am. I am not what I think I am. I am what I think you think I am." And I know it gets a little confusing because it's like, wait, carry the one. But what he's saying is America is trying to be somebody that they think someone else thinks they are. Well, unless you can read minds, you have no idea what people actually think.
I was just going to say that's not a thing.
So you're constantly trying to hit a moving target blindfolded.
Right.
That's what that is doing.
Exactly. It's impossible.
So don't let them judge you. But also, if that's the way you want to start living your life, you have got to start by not judging other people.
100%.
I think that that's important. So maybe let's end with a Cayla takeaway. These are some of my favorite because she is so much more profound than I think people realize. One of the things, and again, I know that we've said this on prior podcasts, when we get into the truck, we very rarely listen to music unless we're listening to the upcoming album.
Yep.
Or if we're trying to get through an audiobook that we think can help us in a certain area of life. But primarily, we're just sitting there talking.
Yeah.
We're just trying to, figure things out. And she has so many things that come up, and I will just look at her. Like, one of the things that I have been telling everybody, and I'll give you guys a Cayla-ism. You need to be able to forgive yourself for the things that you did when you were just trying to survive. Oh, my God. Going through COVID, anyone listening to this, how much did that just resonate with you? How much did that just let you know, okay, maybe I need to forgive myself a little bit? Because maybe you didn't always make the best decisions. Maybe you bought a PlayStation 5 with your stimulus money, but maybe you needed a little bit of a break. That's okay.
Right.
Give yourself a little bit of grace, especially coming out of COVID. Rebuild, build back, stronger, better, harder, faster, stronger, whatever that song is. That's what I want you guys to do. But Cayla, what's something that has been popping up for you recently and lately that you think could potentially help people out?
One thing that's really resonated with me lately is, I've been in personal growth for a really long time. I've read a lot of books, and a lot of it has been extremely impactful and powerful in my life, but things don't ever start to shift until you take action. And I know we preach a lot about action in the final percent, but it's something you actually have to execute. Like, I've known that for a long time, but there were a lot of time went by where I just would sit on that knowledge I had acquired through reading books and I wouldn't take action on it. So it's kind of like in one ear and out the other. It doesn't actually, like, one of the things I love is when you say, like, knowledge is power. That is not true. It's the application of knowledge that is power, which in turn is taking action.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I really started taking action and creating my own destiny. It's not just going to happen for me. The life I want is just not going to create itself. I have to go out there and take actionable steps day in and day out to actually bring about the change I want to see in my life. And I've been really trying to make a better effort at doing that, especially lately. And I've really started to see some major positive shifts in my life. And I just cannot preach that enough. Even if you're scared, even if you don't know what to do, jump into massive action as quickly and as often as possible. And things will just start happening. And then you'll look back one day and be like, wow, how did I get here? Oh yeah, I made that happen for myself.
Yes.
So action,
I think,
one word,
I think,
action.
I think and that's important. You know, there's a lot of people when I talk to them early on, and the funny thing is, you know, a little over a decade ago, I used to be one of these people. I thought this personal growth stuff was a little bit of mumbo jumbo.
A lot of people do, yeah.
And why it's mumbo jumbo is this personal growth stuff, these strategies, experiences, tactics, epiphanies, insights, only work if you do. If
you take action.
It only works if you work.
Yep, and it's hard. It's hard.
You know, just get up and do the work.
Yep.
Get up and grind. And I want people to hear what Cayla just said, is because even people like us, you know, who, you know, really pride ourselves on being people who take action.
Yep.
I would say maybe one of the only things that I wish I would do more is take action more and sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what kind of started happening to me with the summit, is I was thinking, you know, this isn't happening the way I thought it would, which, let's be honest, anything that you want to do of value,
That's
it
life.
Almost never does.
Mm-hmm.
And I just told myself, okay, you know, I'm just going to go have as many conversations. I mean, how many times am I going and having conversations?
Hence the mobile podcast setup.
Yeah, I'm doing a podcast every single day because I'm just going to stay consistent and I'm going to stay consistent long enough for people to know who I am. And I am going to have conversations. I am going to try to help people understand why it is that we do what we do, and help people go to the next level, if you will. Because the thing is if you are that catalyst that helps someone go up, you go up.
Yep.
And that's, you know, the raising tide raises all boats, right? And that's,
I like that.
And that's the thing that we have to remember. So take action on your dreams, show up. If you're interested in the final percent anything, we've got a free course. If you just want to experience something and know at the end it's not a gotcha, it's not a, hey, do this. If you're saying, hey, man, this guy keeps showing up, what do some of the courses look like? You can become a TFP member, which has a bunch of really cool perks. You can check that out on the website, thefinalpercent.com. But more importantly, to really experience what we're trying to get accomplished, who we are, what we've got going on, and just how big we play, I would love to see you come to the summit. I want you to take action on your dreams. I want you to take action on who you are. And again, if you do not believe that this is for you, borrow some of my belief. I'm believing at a level that is investing 6 figures into this thing. And I don't know if anyone's going to show up. But if one person shows up, I guarantee you I'm going to pour everything I have into them. And we've got 18 world-class speakers that are there to change your life. It's not a pitch fest. And the other thing is if you show up and you say, look, Greg, this just was not for me. If you don't think that I went the final percent, if you say, Greg, you say these words to me, Greg, you didn't go the final percent in this event, I want my money back, I will Cash App you personally immediately right there. You come up, you say that to my face, and you say, look, I don't think you went the final percent. If anything, you're going to show up, you're going to see what this looks like, and you're going to go, I cannot believe he plays this big right now. And if this is where we're starting, if this is what's going to happen, imagine where we go in a few years. I would love for you to help us be a cornerstone so that we can build together. This is not a philosophy. This is an aggregate of personal growth. All the people that have changed my life, all the things that have changed my life. This is a culmination of the seminar, conference, concert experience that I wish I would have gone to. I've been to a lot of conferences. I've spoken at a lot of conferences, and it's time to change the game. You're not coming there to just get an insight. You're not coming there to network. You're coming there to change something. And I want to be a catalyst of change in your life so that you can take your life to the next level. Dare I say the exponential part of life. We want to help you achieve that. So please visit thefinalpercent.com. Check us out, and I hope to see you there. This has been The Final Percent.